Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, I have some bonus content for you guys. The bonus content we'll be covering today will be in the sport of wrestling inside the WWE world. In today's bonus segment, I'll be sharing my list of the worst Money in the Bank contract holders in the company's history. So this is my own personal list of who I believe have been the worst Money in the Bank contract holders since the Money in the Bank contract and the concept of the matches and things like that were established in 2005. So, and this is in no particular order. Wrestler number one that comes to mind is Jack Swagger. Now, Jack Swagger, when he was a part of the WWE for quite some time, in the late 2000s, to the late 2010s, he was with the company. But Jack Swagger, right at the gate, Vince McMahon saw something in him that he thought he could be an all-American wrestler and really a Timu version of Kurt Angle that could be a main event star in the company. And he won the final, fun fact, he won the final WrestleMania Money in the Bank ladder match. The final WrestleMania Money in the Bank ladder match took place at WrestleMania 26. That's the year Jack Swagger, or the WrestleMania Jack Swagger won it in the year 2010. But Jack Swagger was never really viewed as a world champion, viewed as world championship material. And he was actually, another fun fact, he's actually supposed to cash in the Money in the Bank contract on John Cena the night after WrestleMania 26, but John Cena refused to put Jack Swagger over, and John Cena flat out said that Jack Swagger is not world title material. So then it resulted in 5 days later, Jack Swagger would cash in on Chris Jericho on the Blue Brand of Friday Night SmackDown, defeat an all-time great to win his first and only world heavyweight title. And when you look at the world title run, it was really lackluster because the reign only lasted 79 days, and his feuds with Randy Orton and The Big Show were very lackluster, lacked a lot of flavor as a heel world champion. And once he lost the World Heavyweight title, he was never viewed as a main event talent, a main event player ever again in the WWE. He got dropped to the mid-card scene and never held another world title since. So I think that year was a waste, and Jack Swagger has to be one of the worst Money in the Bank contract winners of all time. Now, next wrestler on my list that comes to my mind would be Baron Corbin. Now, Baron Corbin, when he won the Money in the Bank contract in 2017, it felt like it could have went to another deserving star at the time, like AJ Styles or Shinsuke Nakamura, especially Shinsuke Nakamura, because he was fresh off being moved up from NXT at the time. But I just felt like it was a gamble that Vince McMahon rolled the dice to let Baron Corbin win the Money in the Bank contract, and it didn't play out in his favor. And he ended up having a failed Money in the Bank contract cash in a month or so later when he cashed in on Jinder Mahal, thanks to John Cena, who cost him Baron Corbin. And the rest is history. Baron Corbin was never put into another type of push to make himself look like a main event star again in the WWE. And then after the cash in, he lost the opening match at SummerSlam of 2017 to John Cena. And ever since then, he, like I just said, he never really was pushed as the guy to be a main event heel star. And yeah, there's an argument that could be there for the year 2019. He was a heel and was part of a big run on SmackDown, but I just felt like it was a over push heel and someone that was forced down our throats as someone that could get heel heat by the crowd. And I don't think Baron Corbin was ever in position to be a true main event star after his failed cash in 2017. So he makes my list as well. Next wrestler, this one is definitely one of the worst of all time, would be John Cena. John Cena is one of the worst Money in the Bank contract holders in the company's history, and I still stand on this to this day. I don't think John Cena was supposed to win the Money in the Bank ladder match of 2012. I think it was accidental when John Cena was hitting the Big Show with the briefcase on top of the ladder, then magically it just fell in Cena's hands. And John Cena's face told the story of it because it looked like it wasn't a genuine reaction for him winning. It was like, oh shit, I won. Let me just beat up the Big Show some more with the briefcase. But in 2012, John Cena, one of the reasons why I don't believe he's supposed to win it, John Cena was already going through a lot in 2012. It was the downfall year of Cena, where he lost to The Rock at WrestleMania and lost to John Laurinaitis in one-on-one competition. That was a perfect time to turn Cena heel, by the way, but it never happened. But John Cena winning the Money in the Bank contract, it just never fit his mold and his character of hustle, loyalty, respect. And when he cashed in on CM Punk for a WWE title shot in straight up one-on-one competition, not a casual cash in that we're used to seeing, it happened on the 1000th episode of Raw. And the Big Show spoiled the plans by getting John Cena John Cena winning the match by disqualification. And Cena's contract, he was the first ever male or female in the company's history to have a failed Money in the Bank cash-in. It just seemed like a waste of time for the Raw Money in the Bank briefcase in 2012. Again, I think that could have honestly went to wrestlers like Chris Jericho, The Miz that year. I just don't think Cena was originally supposed to win that match. But I think John Cena, based off his character, he didn't need the Money in the Bank contract, and he only held it for a total of 7 to 10 days, and it was a waste because he was the first ever failed cash-in the company's history. Now, next wrestler, this one hits home as well, Austin Theory. Now, I think Austin Theory, respectfully, is one of the worst Money in the Bank contract holders, male or female, in the company's history, because Austin Theory was handpicked by Vince McMahon to join the match unexpectedly, the eighth and final member to the ladder match before the bell even rang. And mind you, Austin Theory lost the United States title to Bobby Lashley back in Money in the Bank 2022 on the same exact card. But Austin Theory went over here, and Vince McMahon wanted to put a damn rocket to his back and strap him to the moon. But Austin Theory did become, at the time, the youngest Money in the Bank winner in the company's history. But once Vince McMahon left the company for all the details that are obviously all over the internet now for the wrong reasons, Austin Theory's push got derailed. And it is still kind of crazy, and one of the craziest booking decisions since Triple H has been in charge, to have Austin Theory cash in the contract on a mid-card title, the United States title, and then lose to Seth Rollins, and a failed cash-in resulted. So the fact that that happened, and Austin Theory's never been really the same since in terms of the main event star, I have to say he's one of the worst Money in the Bank contract holders of all time. Plus, it would have been more beneficial if he did cash in on Roman Reigns and fail, with the bloodline circling around Roman Reigns, making sure the title stays around the Tribal Chief's waist. That would have looked better than you cashing in on a mid-card title and coming up short. So Austin Theory has to be one of the worst Money in the Bank contract holders of all time. Next would have to be Otis. Now, Otis, it was wild during the WWE pandemic era in 2020 that Otis was the one that won the Money in the Bank contract ladder match, that crazy cinematic match that happened at the not the Performance Center, the WWE headquarters in Connecticut. And that match was just loaded with talent. I feel like names like AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Aleister Black could have been beneficial to win the contract over Otis. Or Rey Mysterio as well, who was a part of the match. Otis went on to hold the contract for a total of 168 days, never really teased in cashing in on the Universal Champion or the WWE Champion on either brand of Raw or SmackDown. And then he lost the Money in the Bank contract to The Miz and never was viewed as a main event star again. This man, Otis, has been stuck in tag team action since then. He's been viewed as a jobber. I just think if you were going to pull the trigger on somebody to push them and win the contract in the first place, you should have had them become a world champion, rather than hold the briefcase for an unnecessary 168 days, lose it to a former world champion in The Miz, and you never even saw the day of light of the main event scene ever since. So, one of the worst contract holders of all time. And last but not least, this one still pisses me off to this day. It's Brock Lesnar. If you guys remember, in the late 2010s, Vince McMahon would just breastfeed Brock Lesnar world title after world title run after world title run. And it happened again in 2019 after he lost the Universal title to Seth Rollins, because he wasn't even slated to be in the match in 2019. Ali was this close of winning the Money in the Bank contract. All of a sudden, Brock Lesnar music hits. He storms the ring, kicks Ali off the ladder, and wins the Money in the Bank contract. And that year, you could have gave it to an up-and-coming rising star that was a part of the company in Ali, Ricochet, Andrade, or you even could have went in the route of putting the contract back on Finn Balor, or the contract back on Finn Balor, because he lost the Universal title in 24 hours and never got a proper world title run. But the cash-in was just so predictable, because Brock Lesnar was going to cash in on Seth Rollins. He cashed in on Seth Rollins at Extreme Rules in 2019 and became Universal Champion again. So the briefcase was just extended just to continue a feud. And the beatbox of Brock Lesnar using the briefcase like he's at the beach with a boombox in his hand, that was annoying as hell. I don't think that was funny or cool. I don't like the fact that Vince McMahon just used to give part-timers these world title runs like Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, etc. out of nowhere, just when he felt like the WWE needed a part-timer to have the world title in their grasp. But those are my thoughts on who I believe are the worst Money in the Bank contract holders in the company's history. That is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off, and I'll see you guys on next week's episode.